to stop. Why are you being a bitch about it?
Why don't you stop calling my job? Stop calling me.
No, I just want to solve everything.
There's nothing to solve. The only way to solve if you leave me alone.
I said I was going to leave you alone.
Okay, good. Then leave me alone. Then stop calling me. I desire no contact with you.
You're being a really bitch about it. I don't understand.
Okay.
You're not being mature. You're not being mature about it.
All right. Okay. Stop calling my job, please. Because I'll block your number here and you won't call me.
What are you going to do with that? You're not going to do anything.
Okay. We'll see about that.
Yeah, you're not going to do shit. All you just talking.
Yeah.
All you just make fun of me. That's all you do.
No. Trust me. There's a little bit more what I could do, but that's okay. I'm giving you an option to stop right now.
I told you I'm not going to stop.
Okay. Then don't. And we'll see how this is going to end up.
Yeah, because you're not... I'm trying to solve the problem.
Bye, Cassandra. Bye, Cassandra.
Okay, I'm not Cassandra, so...
Okay, well, whatever you are. Bye, psycho stalker. Okay?
Whatever. Okay, whatever.
Okay, bye-bye. Today's date, today's time. I'm at work, and I'm going to go through my call logs. Yesterday after work, the calls started coming in. Non-stop. This morning, she even is calling me from her real number. That's her number. And non-stop. Over 60-something calls. When is this gonna end?
We just heard several phone recordings between a stalker and her victim.
The victim captured these conversations as proof of the request she made to have her stalker stop contacting her.
She wanted to use this proof to go to the police so she could have her stalker put away and finally end the harassment.
So let's hear how today's guest went from stalking victim to stalking survivor.
I'm Jamie Beebe.
And I'm Jake Deptula.
On today's episode of Strictly Stalking, our guest has chosen to remain anonymous for her own safety.
We're not using her real name, but we'll be referring to her as Michelle.
Welcome, Michelle, and thank you for being here and being strong enough to tell your horrific story.
Michelle, welcome to Strictly Stalking.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, and thank you for letting me share my story today. I'm actually really excited to be here.
Oh, absolutely.
We're happy to have you here. Why don't you, I know we are using, we're keeping it anonymous for a lot of reasons, which we'll get into in a little while. But why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, your childhood, kind of who you are, what type of person you are?
Sure, absolutely. So I immigrated from Russia, and I didn't speak English at all. I had no idea what America was. I was 9 years old, came from a small city.
Wow.
And just totally transplanted here, learned English within like a few months, and grew up in LA, actually in the Valley all my life, and went to school out here, college, graduate school. I'm a social worker by trade. I worked with military. I did a lot of like trauma-based therapy with them, a lot of service members that were coming back, dealing with like traumatic brain injuries and other, issues from combat. So I worked a lot with them, worked with seniors. So I did a lot of community work as well, giving back. And now I'm currently working with hospice patients. And I am a mommy now. I think it's like my calling to give back and to help others. People have always asked, like, why did you choose social work? Just something about helping other people, helping them, just something that ignites that passion in me. And that's pretty much how I got into social work and military. I grew up military housing. My dad was in the military, my grandparents, like my whole family, like the men in Russia served. So growing up military, seeing some PTSD firsthand, and my grandpa ignited this fire to want to be able to help and give back. And so when I worked with a lot of service members with PTSD, it's also been very personal to me.
Michelle was really living her best life to the fullest and was actually a very normal person, giving back to society in the best way that she could.
No, she's a kind and compassionate person. Let's listen to how her ordeal began.
Crazy stories. Actually, I was in Israel over the summer when the stalking started.
Really?
Yeah, I was vacationing in Israel. I have family there. And that's when this crazy profile started requesting me on social media. And I had my social media open at that time. It wasn't private. And I just kind of like declined it. But this person requested it again and I made it private. So I finally just left it alone. And about a month later, this was 2015 summer, I see this profile requesting me. It's a handsome guy, Marine. Went to USC. I also graduated USC grad school. You know, and a lot of similarities. There's pictures of him with dogs, and I love dogs. Like, I'm a fanatic. And so I was like, okay, you know, I was single at the time. Why not? Let him, you know, follow me on social media, on Instagram. And anytime I'd upload a picture, this profile instantly, like, momentarily would comment or like it. And so I was kind of flattered that time, like, what a handsome guy, but you know, whatever. And that's how it got me. And then the profile just started commenting like, hey, when you come back, let me take you on a date. And I thought that was a little ballsy. And I was like, I don't even know you, but no. So then I kind of decided to just check the profile out more. And I've noticed there was a lot of pictures, but there was no comments. And that kind of struck me was a little odd. And then I went through this profile's friends list and like my heart dropped. Like, this profile was following like 20 of my closest friends. So I'm coming back from Israel and I send out a mass message to everybody. And I remember this is like the end of September, like September 29th or 30th. Hey guys, I don't know who this profile is, but can you guys just all like delete it? It's weird. You know, like, this profile is following you. And the ones that got the message, you know, blocked it, deleted it. And the ones that didn't, the next day I wake up to, like, I kid you not, it was like over 100 missed calls and text messages from my friends. Like, what the fuck is going on? So, you know, I wake up like shaking and I call back and they're like, this profile is like commenting all over all our profiles on your pictures with us, that you're a slut, you're a whore, that you're like a pornographic skank, like all this crazy shit. And like my heart dropped, you know, like I have no enemies. I help others. I have a lot of friends and I've never done anything to hurt anyone. So I'm trying to figure out, like, is this some kind of ex-boyfriend? But like, I'm good friends with people that I've dated. Like, I've never ended things on bad terms. So I'm freaking out. And this profile is just commenting like really bad things, like, tell her to get in touch with me. What the fuck is going on? And my friend is sending me screenshots of like, you know, of all the conversations. And I have no clue what the fuck to do. Like, what's going on, you know? So
It's because you blocked him?
yeah, I blocked that profile.
And you just had a red flag. Like,
I
you had a premonition
feeling. I had a bad feeling. There was like something is going on, like catfish type of shit. And this is beginning of October now. This profile is aggressively trying to communicate like through my friends to me, saying like, I know where she works. She works, and then this profile writes the name of my job. And I was working in a senior building, helping out seniors in the Valley. And this profile writes, I'm going to show up there when she least expects it.
How many times have we all ignored a friend request on social media?
No, it's crazy doing something as normal as ignoring your friend request made this person escalate to this point.
So my heart is dropping. Like, who is this guy? You know, and I'm trying to, like, at the same time, like, try to zoom in his pictures, trying to figure out what his last name is. So maybe I could try to contact, you know, his commander, because he's got military pictures.
Right.
And I am also talking to like my friends, like, does anybody know anybody that can like help me? Like, how do we track this? You know, how do we figure this out? So this profile is continually making threats, and now the threats are getting more serious. Like, I'm going to show up and like hurt her. So I screenshot all of that and I go to the local police department. And of course, they don't even take the freaking report.
And that's the LAPD?
Yeah. And that is
Los Angeles Police
Department. Yeah. I mean, I don't want to throw anybody under the bus, but it's North Hollywood.
For you. North Hollywood Police Department.
How did you feel when you experienced that and knew that, okay, they couldn't do anything for you?
I felt hopeless. I felt that what's their job? Like, they're supposed to protect us. Their service is to protect like people that are going through like this. This was a threat. This was a legitimate, considered a terrorist threat. I'm going to come and kill you. That's what, the threats were. And I felt terrible. I felt that there was no one there to help me, that, what am I supposed to do? I honestly felt like the world underneath me, like I was going to get like swallowed, like everything just started spinning. And I had to like calm down and figure out like, okay, what's plan B? I'm going to try a private investigator because I need to know who this person is and what do they want. And they're not saying what they want. They're just like, why did you stop, being friends with me on social media? Like just some random stuff. I'm going to kill you. I'm going to come to your job. So I get a private investigator, and this private investigator is just hitting dead ends, trying to figure out, trying to pull this information. And at the same time, I have a cousin who works at Microsoft. I'm contacting him like, hey, are you able to kind of figure out how to like trace IPL, right?
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, like, is there any way that we could figure this out? Like, help me out, because I don't know what's happening. This profile is like saying a lot of things, to my friends that are still having the open discussion with him. Like where, who I dated, this profile know like my past, which was really scary and weird to me. Like, how does this person know? And then later I learned like stalkers do their research. They really sit down and do their research.
And again, as we've seen over and over, going to the police was no help at all. The correct laws are either not in place or they just don't take it seriously.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I can't imagine how hopeless she felt, reaching out for help and receiving nothing in return. So like other survivors, she had to take matters into her own hands.
And it was really disturbing when she discovered the lengths this person has gone through to learn about her life.
Later on when I found out more information, as I'll tell you guys, like immediately when this profile started following me, they started keeping tabs on where was I checking in, who was I checking in with, who are mostly seen in my pictures. And this person was going through like my friends list and just like pulling information on their pages about me, like just keeping tabs of everything and knowing like where I frequent places, like where I went in Burbank or things like that. And it was so freaky because like this person had so much information on me.
So literally just by opening up and accepting the friend request, this person was able to kind of invade your life and ultimately contact people in your life and cause a lot of mayhem and ultimately start to stalk you. Instantly.
It's what this person needed was just that opening. And then immediately it was like a snowball effect. Just contacting, pulling information.
And your stuff, because it wasn't private at first, right?
No, it wasn't private. And then when I made it private, because this person requested me with their real profile in June of 2015. And then because I didn't accept that, and then I had it open, and then I had it private, and that's when that fake Marine profile, and I actually have screenshots of the fake Marine. I kept all the screenshots, and I actually will show you what this person really looks like, what the stalker really looks like.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. And if I had a camera to record everybody's reaction every time, it would be amazing because it's the same reaction.
Well, it's interesting too, because so many people, you always look back in kind of armchair quarterback situations, but most people probably in your situation would have done the same thing, to be honest with you, and said, I'll accept all the things check out. And I think this is kind of something that, when something seems obvious at front, there may be some other steps that you need to take before you open up the doors to somebody in your life like this.
Oh, yeah. I made a mistake thinking it was a cute guy.
So this is when Michelle decided to turn the tables on her stalker and take matters into her own hands.
I decided to come up with a plan since no one was helping me and LAPD wasn't doing anything. I decided to come up with a plan, and that was, I have a niece who's gorgeous, and, this profile also tried to harass her. And so what I decided is like, give me your login credentials. Let me log in under you. Let's unfriend each other, and let me contact the stalker and pull information and, kind of build rapport there. So then I could find out who this person is. So that's what I did. And at first I was like, hey, I'm like really pissed off at she didn't take me to Israel, and got this bitch to kind of like play, I hooked her. And she started, obviously I'm giving out the identity of my stalker. It was a woman, but I didn't know that she was a woman until later. So as I'm getting information, like, what do you have against things like that? And, just trying to pull information. And she's saying like things about me, here and there. And it's giving me some kind of sense of control that at least I know what's happening, because here I am going to work every day, having to watch my back, not sleeping, buying pepper sprays, knives, going to a shooting range, trying to figure out how the hell am I going to protect myself if some military supposedly guy's going to jump out of the bushes and like kill me, rape me, whatever, And this kind of gave me some sense of control of the situation, that I'm able to at least know what's happening, what the stalker wants, and it was just friendship. So I was able to kind of like, okay, I'll give you phone number, because that's what the stalker really wanted, was my real phone number. But like, I hate her, so type of thing, like just kind of kept it going as my niece. And then I was able to download a fake app, create a fake phone number, and it's October 9th. Like I remember dates, I remember times. She calls me, but doesn't say anything, listens to my voice. And then I call back, and it was also like an 818 number. And then she picks up and she's like, why are you calling my boyfriend's phone? And I was like, your boyfriend? So I'm thinking like, oh, fuck this. Tell your fucking boyfriend, like, he's harassing me. And I unloaded on her. And then we texted back and forth some like, fuck you, back and forth type of things. Profiles went down. Like, she had 2 fake profiles following me. The weekend is going great. Nobody's stalking me. Everything's fine. I come over to my parents' house. I'm hanging out by myself. Their phone rings. No one's home. It's a private call. I answer. And she's like, I told you I'd find you here. And I just stood there and like, remember the Scream movie when she answers?
Oh my gosh.
I just slid down the wall with the phone. Like, what do you want from me? And she's like, I just want to be your friend. And I'm like, I don't want to be your friend. I don't fucking know you. Like, you need help. You need therapy. And I hear airplanes going. And I'm like, are you next to an airport? And I'm like, do you live next to an airport? I'm thinking like, maybe she lives in Burbank, like maybe LAX. And like, my mind's going crazy trying to figure out where she's at. And she's like, I just want to be your friend. I just want to hang out. And I'm like, okay, so how is this going to work? Like, this feels like invasive. And she's like, I'll be nice to you if you just be my friend. I was like, okay.
That's so
Plan
creepy.
B. Yeah. Plan B.
So wait, were you at this time, did you now realize that's your stalker, or did you think that it was her boyfriend or whatever?
No.
Okay. So
she told me on the phone that it was her, that she just wanted to be my friend.
So she revealed that those profiles were not a man, basically.
That it was, that she created that because she just wanted to be my friend, and that she thought I was so pretty, and that she just wanted to be my friend. So I'm sitting there like, okay, time for plan B. I'm going to tackle this bitch. I'm not going to let her harass me. So I call my cousin again, and I'm like, help me like get her. So he says, okay, I'm going to try to contact Facebook and Instagram and try to work it out with them. You create a Gmail account and try to email her with that. So I did that. I told her, listen, I'm not going to have a phone for 2 weeks. Why don't you email me? Meanwhile, I'm trying to go through my resources, and I have a friend who says his neighbor is an FBI agent. So I bring all my stuff, all my pictures, everything. And he's like, look, there isn't any kind of like threats kind of to open up an FBI case. But if, ever there's anything, let us know. And I'm like, fuck. Okay, we'll keep this going. So we're emailing back and forth, and I'm pretending to be her friend. So it's like mundane stuff. How are you? Good. What are you doing? And I honestly feel like she's emailing me 100 times a day. And I feel like I'm literally being raped, because the feeling is of like, you don't want this contact, but yet it's just so on you. It's like so pervasive, but you have to play along because it gives you a little bit of sense of like control, because you feel a little safe, because at least you have her on, like, she's good. She's not threatening. Because mind you, she was sending me threats, like through my friends. I'm going to do this, this, and this. And it's scary. So for 2 weeks, we email back and forth. And on October 31st, I just decided I fucking had enough.
At this point, Michelle is trying to play along to give herself a sense of control over the situation.
No, I mean, hundreds of emails a day is more than a full-time job. I mean, her time commitment is incomprehensible.
But she can only give up her life for so long until she's had enough and something has to be done.
Like, I'm done with this. I'm done with this shit. Like, this ends right now. So I told her, you know what? Leave me the fuck alone. Like, leave me alone. And she's like, no, but we're friends. Like, I thought we're friends. And I'm like, no, this ends here. Like, what do you want from me? Like, what is it going to take you to stop and leave me alone? And she says, I just want your friendship. And I'm like, no, we're not going to have a fucking friendship. Just leave me alone. And this is through email. And she's like, then I want you dead. And I was like, well, fuck you. And she's like, okay, then I want $100,000. I was like, oh my God, bingo. Extortion.
A greedy stalker.
A greedy stalker that said, I'm going to kill you or you need to pay me $100,000. So I call the FBI agent immediately. It's 10 p.m. And he says, go to the local police station and tell them that you're being extorted for your life and, you know, pretty much like provide all this information. Do you want me to like escort you there? She wanted money, but ultimately she just wanted my attention. She liked the fact that in her mind we had a relationship. But I was just playing along because I needed some sanity. I needed to go to work. I was working 2 jobs. I just got promoted and I was being torn in every different direction. And I had to maintain work and, you know, come in and do my job because I was going to get fired, you know. And I had just moved out too, got my own apartment, everything. And here I'm dealing with this and having to come into work and deal with seniors who need my time and attention, who need me to advocate for them. And I'm dealing with this. And mind you, it's like being raped every single day. That was the feeling. Like I felt like that every day of like how unwanted it was, how I hated just seeing my phone light up and seeing an email from her and just having to fucking respond to her, because if I didn't, she would send me like 20 emails. What's going on? Where are you? How come your phone is still broken?
Extortion?
And now her stalker has finally done something that she can take to the police and hopefully she'll get help.
Because extortion is a federal crime, whereas stalking doesn't get that kind of traction with authorities.
Something we haven't talked much about is how being stalked affects the people around you. When you're a victim of a crime like this, your life instantly changes.
Oh yeah, stalking affects your friends and family, but also your relationships with other people change. Let's hear from Michelle on this. What kind of response did they give you? What kind of support?
I'm really glad that you brought that up because I had a lot of mixed situations going on with my friends. I had a lot of friends that supported me and I had a lot of friends that got really tired and like fed up and annoyed with what was going on because it was just so ongoing and it was like dragging them in too because she was harassing them at the same time, like, you know, messaging them like inappropriate things about me. And it was just too much for them. Like they were, you know, when you're not in it and you're not like, you don't know what it is to be stalked. You don't know what it is, like how to really support your friends. And I have a lot of good supportive friends, but I also learned who my true friends really were in this situation. And I've lost friends too, which was pretty fucked up. It absolutely doesn't work because you're dealing with it. It comes with you. It's like that dark cloud that constantly follows you. Like you're trying to have a good time and then it's like right here and you're just constantly getting the calls and the text messages. And then, you know, like I couldn't be myself because I was under this constant stress and like trauma always. And it started to mess with my mental health because you're always hyper vigilant and you're always hyper alert. And then it messes with your sleep. And I started drinking and I started smoking weed. And I just wasn't myself. Like I started trying to cope because I started having thoughts like, I want to run away from this. I can't take this anymore because they just got so bad. I mean, like it was just so pervasive and the calls started coming in later into my phone and the text messages and was nonstop. It was like over and over every day from the moment I woke up to the time I went to bed. And then I was getting, because she started advertising my phone number on like escort sites and I was getting calls from men like requesting like, hey, you know, sex. And it was just, yeah, it was.
Wow.
It was bad. And then she gave my number out to her friends and they were harassing me and leaving me nasty messages. I mean, to like why this all really happened is when I was young, I made a mistake. I took some pictures and they circulated. Whatever, I was 18 and she found me and she was threatening to expose me. You bring up employers. I had to pretty much tell my bosses what was happening and I had to tell them about my past. And my boss was like, oh, I thought you were going to tell me like you killed somebody. Like, I don't care.
Well, that's a relief.
I was like, oh my God, because I didn't want to lose my job. Like I I went to college and graduate school and I worked so hard, to rise to the position. I was a supervisor at that time and I didn't want to get fired. I worked so hard, like for what? For some bitch that could just come and like throw my past in my face, and that's what the fact that my bosses were so supportive and they were both like, on the phone with me every day. Like, are you safe? Do you need anything? Like, so like I had like literally like 2 therapists. Like they were just always available for me and talking to me and like worried about my safety. My family took it a little bit differently. They're a little bit traditional, like old school from Russia. Like, oh, like, why is she doing this? Like, did you bring this upon yourself type of thing? Like I didn't get the support that I really wanted to. But then you have to know my parents to see, like they love me, but they were annoyed because they were getting calls nonstop to their residents that they had to disconnect their landlines. Right. Yeah. And then she started harassing my mom and calling my mom's cell phone. So my mom had to like block that number and like, she would change numbers. It was terrible.
Not only was she dealing with the incessant stalking and now extortion, but her stalker also exposed her past, which also threatened her relationships and her livelihood.
Let's find out what happened once the FBI got involved.
Back to October, back to the FBI. LAPD takes the case. Then we contact FBI. So when I go to LAPD, I want to tell you, it was crazy. I get into, it was in the Valley, it was Northridge. They were amazing. Like the moment that I told them what was happening, they took me back. It's like 1 a.m. and we're sitting down and I get a private call and I answer and she's like, she finally found out my phone number. I guess she paid online and was able to get that. And we're with like the detectives and like I put it on speaker and she's like, where's my fucking money, bitch? I told you I'm not gonna stop. And they're like, hello, like, do you not hear? And so I was like, I don't have money, like, leave me alone. And I hang up and then she calls back again and the detective answers. He's like, what do you want? And she's like, I'm gonna fucking kill you too. And she hangs up. And I was like, oh my God. I'm like, do you not see this? So she starts calling me with her real number. And while we're there at like 1 a.m, so they start, they obviously pull her information, find, so she's in Florida. She's in Miami, Florida. She's calling from like a 715 or 718, whatever the area code to Florida was. And, they get all her information. So they're putting her, like the profile on her. And the next day I call FBI in the downtown office. I tell them what's happening. They take my case. They contact the FBI of Miami because it's happening in their jurisdiction. FBI, they're busy. And their resources are very limited. So they really, like, I thought the case was going to be handled here, but they pushed it to Miami. And the FBI agent that handled my case, he was amazing. He was on the phone with me every day. Like, I would cry to him, like, I'm tired of this. Like, when is this going to stop? But they had to take other cases as mine was going on because, they knew where she was at. They knew, like, they had like people watching her and they knew that it wasn't like a high risk. They just needed to pull information, but they kept taking cases like, oh, hey, we just got a murder and a body was, in a trunk. Like, we got to take this case. They would tell me what was happening. So they devised a plan how we're going to, take her down. We need proof that it's her because she's, half the time saying it's not her. So I have to continue accepting her calls. I have to listen to her bullshit. They have the attorneys, the United States federal attorney, fly out. They interview me. They interview my friends who were obviously harassed, and they decide to do a consensual Title III or whatever, where they put a recording device on my phone. So they tap my phone, and I have to get a burner phone, like a little side phone where like my friends call and we shoot the shit because FBI doesn't want to sit there and listen through like, hours and hours of my conversations. And they've told me like, hey, keep it, to a T. Like, we hear everything. So they're, she's calling me now over and over and I can't cuss her out. I can't tell her how I feel because this can be used against me, even though initially I would, I told her how I truly felt. And I have to just take her bullshit. And she's writing to me, I'm going to gut you like a dirty pig. I'm going to, like cut your head off. I'm going to, I know where your parents live. She created profiles. She would put my parents' address online, say that there was like a whore that lived there, like free blowjobs, like things like that. So I was a little concerned about my parents' safety, and I asked the police to provide a little bit more of like a watch around, their home. Just, who knows what she's capable of. And she's putting my picture and saying like, hey, there's this hooker. She does, free blowjobs. Like, go to her address, things like that. So, she's doing all this, and I have to just continue on with going to work, hanging out with my friends, being part of my family, while this is going on every day from 7 in the morning, nonstop calls over and over and over. Like I have screenshots of it's just like 701, 702, 703, missed calls, like just nonstop. And she's creating fake profiles of me. She's putting those old pictures, and she's requesting my friends and their husbands and boyfriends. So, I'm getting screenshots of like pictures of me from the past from my friend's husband. Like, hey, like this profile just requested me and I didn't know. And yeah, sorry. I hated waking up. I couldn't fall asleep, and I hated waking up. It was scary because I have no clue what the day is going to entail. I have no clue what kind of call I'm going to have today. It was just from pretty much she started in June until she was arrested on April 24th of 2016. That's when the calls stopped. And that's when I like slept normally.
She went through so much. Even after the FBI got involved, she had to keep going to not only get more proof, but also because the case wasn't a huge priority for them.
Yes, but eventually there was movement in the case, and it resulted in the arrest and conviction of Cassandra Cruz.
They have me come down every so often to drop off my phone so they could pull everything. This is still going. So they come up with a plan. Look, have her keep doing this. And let's say that you're going to tell her, look, I'm going to give you $10,000. I'm going to file my taxes in January. And I'm going to come down to Miami because I'm going to take a cruise with my mom. And why don't we meet outside the airport? I'm going to give you that money, but you're going to stop. But, let's send her, ask her to send you a letter that she's going to stop. And this dumbass, writes a letter and says, I'm going to, leave you alone once you give me the money. And she sends it to me, and, the FBI intercepted it, but I didn't know, like my parents gave them the letter and I didn't know the timing of it, and she's hitting me up and I had no clue that they intercepted the letter. So I tell her, no, I didn't get anything. Why don't you send it certified so you'll know for sure I picked it up? Mind you, that was the biggest like turning point, because sending it certified, you have to go into the post office where there's cameras that captured her. So that was like evidence. It was critical. So she sends it in, they DNA swabbed for the stamp, like fingerprinted everything. And so then the next part, continue keeping her on and telling her, like, I'm going to give you this money. So then the FBI says, look, we're going to have you FaceTime her, but we're going to wire you up with a camera and a microphone that's going to be like a necklace, and we're going to record this, and you're going to have the letter, and you're going to show it to yourself, like you're showing it to the camera, and then show it to her and, tell her like, hey, so you really wrote this letter. And I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to see her. Like, I just felt like, I was disgusted because she would write, disgusting things to me, like sexual things, which she wanted to do to me sexually. Then it would be like, I'm going to cut you up into pieces. I'm going to murder your family, your dog. Like, it was just such a fucking clusterfuck that I felt like, oh my God, if I was going to see her on the phone, like I was going to throw up. So they send in 3 FBI agents to my office. I put them on lunch. My little seniors are knocking through the door. What's going on? What are all these men doing in your office? And I'm like, it's not what you think. So they wire me up, and I have my phone, and, where she put on glasses and a hat, like, so I wouldn't recognize her. She's such a dumbass. And I'm like, is this what you wrote to me? And she's like, yeah. And I'm like, so you're going to stop, right? When, you get your money, right? Yeah, I will. And then I'm like, okay, well, I guess I'm done. She's like, what are you doing? I was like, oh my God, I don't want to talk to you. She's like, so how are you? Like, she just wanted to keep me on the phone. And then when we hung up, she messaged me, can we do this? Can we FaceTime again? And I was like, no, like my phone broke, my camera broke. Like, I just did everything possible to like avoid like even having any kind of contact with her. So that was proof for them. So we called it the D-Day in April, the takedown day. I had to fake book a cruise and send her like my fake booking. And then I fake booked a flight. So I had to send her like a fake, like, here's my flight, here's, and all this information. I'm going to get in, and then I'm supposed to call her when I get in. So I didn't sleep all night. I went in my car, put on the music so it's make it sound like I'm in the car. And I'm like, I'm in a white Uber, like I'm pulling into the park. And she's like, did you want flowers? I want to bring you flowers. And I was like, okay, go ahead, bring me flowers. Like, like, little do you know you're going to be
the least you can do is bring you flowers.
Mm-hmm. Give those flowers to the FBI that's going to arrest you.
Flowers? After all that, she's so delusional that she offered to bring her extortion and stalking victim flowers at the money drop-off point.
You know, the mere fact that Cassandra doesn't realize what she's doing wrong is very disturbing.
And at this point, Michelle has convinced Cassandra that she has gotten off the plane in Miami to bring her the $10,000 they had agreed upon to stop this harassment.
So even though Michelle's playing along, she's actually still in LA, waiting for the FBI to rush in and arrest her stalker.
I'm in my car and I call her and I'm like, hey, I'm in a white Uber. I'm coming from the airport. She's like, okay, I'm waiting for you. And then the FBI instructed me to turn off my phone and to have my little burner phone on and not to get any more calls, like not to answer. And so they called me like 20 minutes after and they said she's been arrested. That was the greatest news I've ever heard. It was like, I felt like I won the lottery because I felt like my life came back. Not entirely, but for that moment I could breathe. I wasn't going to get harassed. I wasn't going to have phone calls nonstop. I could finally sleep and I felt safe. Even though she was in Miami, I don't know what she was capable of. I don't know that she, any day she could book a flight. And even though they had an FBI agent like following her, and this is crazy, she was a student at a university studying criminology. She had her laptop with me. And she was asking for me, like, can she still talk to me? And they told her she was under the arrest. The FBI agents were at the local police station watching it live. It was just being recorded, and they took her down. Yeah.
So she admitted it, and she was still asking for you?
Yeah. She was still asking for me.
Wow.
So then she gets a public defender. So she goes to jail for, like, I guess, 5 days. She couldn't make bail hearing, got her bail reduced, all that wonderful stuff. And then she gets a public defender and she wants to fight the case. And I was like, wait, what? Yeah. So she was telling her public defender that, that I set her up and that she wanted to fight this case. So the FBI sends them over thousands and thousands of like pieces of evidence, like calls and like really? And she would not plead guilty. And the FBI just, they had other cases. And I understand, like, they wanted this shut and, close this case. And they didn't want to waste any more money on this. Because that would have meant trial. That would have meant I had to fly down to Miami. My friends would get subpoenaed. And this is right around Memorial Day weekend. And everybody had plans. And here we are being subpoenaed.
The last thing you want to deal with on a Memorial Day weekend is being subpoenaed in a stalker trial.
Yeah, my girlfriend's like, I'm going to Bali. Like, what if I don't go? I asked the FBI.
That's like you, Jamie.
Like, yeah, I'm not going to go. And then the FBI is like, look, they're going to get arrested, so they better go. And my friends are fucking hating me now. I had someone that just started a new job. Like 6 of my friends got subpoenaed pretty much. So here we are, like, everybody's super pissed. And I'm like, I thought this was over. And last minute, like literally one day before the flight, she pled guilty. And which meant that they dropped the extortion charge. But they still charged her with cyber stalking, like making threats. Like, she got a few felonies that she got charged with. Now, if in the state of Florida, extortion, because Florida is very conservative, she would have gotten like with all those, crimes that she committed against me, probably a good 25 years.
They kept the extortion?
Yeah. If they kept the extortion, we would have gone to trial. She would have lost instantly.
And why didn't they keep the extortion?
Because they wanted her to plead guilty. They were going to take the extortion out.
So it was basically like a plea deal in order to...
Right, so they wouldn't have to do the trial and spend the money.
But they told me, look, there's going to be a sentencing. And the judge is because she's Cuban. The judge was Cuban too. They're like, look, you look like a white affluent girl. He's going to see that poor Cuban, immigrant girl here. She's young and he has a history of like just doing a slap on the wrist. So she might not get anything. And this is where I felt like re-victimized all over again. I'm like, are you fucking serious? I went through hell, like a year of my life where I was constantly getting sick. I was getting like ear infections. My ear blew out. I have a perforated eardrum because I got an ear infection. Like, who gets ear infections at like 30 something years old? You know, like my health started suffering. I was constantly in and out on antibiotics. Like my life was in shambles. I lost friends. You know, my work started going down. I was getting reprimanded by my bosses. At my other job, I couldn't really tell them what was going on. You know, and here I have to maintain a sense of professionalism while I'm dealing with all of this. And she's going to get a fucking slap on the wrist. Oh my God. I like lost it. I felt like this is like how unfair it is to have gone through what I've gone through, and then like for the judicial system to just give her a slap on the wrist. Like, cool, let stalkers continue doing their shit while we victims suffer through the stalking, and then we suffer because the system fails us.
Unfortunately, the system fails us in so many stalking cases.
Even with the extortion and the FBI involved and the trial, she may not face any real penalties for what she's done and what she's put Michelle through.
You know, she did get some justice, but this ordeal is going to stay with her and impact the way she lives the rest of her life, including her sense of safety.
I think about what would have happened if the FBI never helped me. Where would I be today? What kind of person would I be? Because, you know, it was traumatic. And I started, like I said, I started drinking more just to cope every night because I was scared. And, you know, where would I be today? Would I even be alive? Because I thought of like running away, or, you know, like I can't handle this anymore. Like I was shamed. I was, you know, and in my culture too, I wasn't born here. And that's what I mentioned, you know, I immigrated from Russia. Like, shame is big, and like you get shamed in front of your family. And like a lot of my family didn't know about my past. My friends didn't know. Like, I had to explain to everybody, like, this is what happened. This is, you know, what I did. This is why she's doing it. So they told me this is what can happen. The judge can give her a slap on the wrist, but why don't you fly down? We'll fly you down. We'll pay for your flight for you to say a victim statement. Cool. I get on this flight. It's in August. I wrote like 7 pages overnight. Yeah. I didn't sleep. And, you know, the FBI picks me up in the morning, and I have never met her in person. I've never seen her. And as I'm getting checked in, I see her through the windows, and my feet started buckling. I almost fainted. And they took me upstairs, and they're like, okay, look, you know, we're going to keep you safe. Her family's here. We don't know what can happen. You know, if we have to take you out, you know, just if we say, go, 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 you go. I was shaking, like, I have to face her, but there's a possibility I could get attacked in court. Like, what kind of shit is this? So the FBI sat around me. My boyfriend at that time who is my fiance now, who is so supportive through the whole thing, sat next to me. And her family was on that side, and she just looked like a big old football player. She's super tall, huge, and she kept looking at me. And at that moment, I felt protected, and I was just giving her the biggest, dirtiest face, like, what the fuck are you looking at? Yeah, I'm here. Yeah, I made it, and I'm gonna fucking put you away. So she put her head down. So the judge, you know, I thought this was going to be a 30-minute thing. No, it was like an hour and a half. He was having a good time. It was like, you know, he was entertained. So he would, you know, talk to her like, well, why did you do this? And when the victim told you to stop. And I'm thinking like, cool, he's on my side. And then he's like, well, don't you think, you know, for someone her age, you know, that she should just get, you know, 5 years of probation. And FBI warned me not to say, like, you know, if the judge asks you what should she get, like, you know, don't fucking say like firing squad or something like that, which is what I wanted to say. And I was like, no, she should get the maximum what she deserves. And the probation department recommended 3 years of prison and 5 years of probation. And so because she was in school, you know, the judge said, okay, 22 months, which I was like, thank God. But, you know, when you're on probation, the conditions of your probation is no smartphones, no computer, no internet, nothing. And her lawyer's like, well, how is she going to go to school? And the judge was like I did, with a pencil and a paper. That's how she's going to go to school. And I was like, okay, I like this. So when I was reading my victim statement, the court typist, the recorder, her jaw dropped. Like what I was sharing when I was reading my story. Like I could see her, and she was like, so I'm thinking like, okay, she, you know, she got the 22 months, 3 years of probation. And the judge says, and it starts today. And so you see this door open up and this big old bailiff walk in, and they start to take her away, and she just goes like this, because her lawyer was trying to pat her on the back, and she jerks her hand. And so the FBI is like, okay, go. So I'm thinking like, okay, something gonna go down. Like I have these emotions. I'm so happy that it happened, but I'm scared, and I'm just like, holy, like flood of all these wonderful but scary emotions at the same time. And she got walked in, and case was closed. And I got on the flight, and I just I was so happy.
Holy shit is right. I'd be terrified to face this person in court after all that had happened.
She is such a remarkable soul and truly brave person by going to court and working to put her stalker behind bars.
In my opinion, she didn't get nearly enough time.
As the FBI and NBC Miami reported, Michelle's stalker, Cassandra Cruz, was a 23-year-old female student at Florida International University studying criminology. She seemed well-adjusted among her peers, and no one knew the secret she was hiding.
Along the way and through her own research, Michelle found out a lot about her stalker.
I found out a lot of things just from emailing with her and being, under my niece's profile. She found me, she found my pictures online. She wanted to know who I was, so she started researching it. And she found a fake name that I used, was able to track that down, connected that to my real name. Then she found my brother on Facebook. Then she found my dad. Then she found me. So she did her research. And FBI said, if stalkers would do their, they do their research so well, they could be FBI agents, literally. So she just wanted to be my friend because she thought I was so pretty. But because I kept not wanting to be her friend, I don't freaking know her, and I'm not going to be friends with Stalker. She got angry. She got very angry. So she decided, and mind you, she was a normal girl because, they have to do this whole profile on her. She was part of the government club at the university. She had a lot of friends. She just thought that she can get away with it. She really thought in her demented mind that because she's studying criminology, that whatever she's studying, that she was going to apply it on me and do that to me.
So did she know what she was doing, right from wrong? Do you think that she had, I kind of want to say obviously she had some kind of mental illness, but do you think that she just...
She said she didn't care because I would tell her what you're doing is wrong. Do you understand you're going to be in trouble? I would tell her these things. And she's like, I don't care. She thought she was going to get away because she was hiding behind a computer screen. Little did she know that it would be tracked. The steps that I did, the research, the fact that I created, this account, and I was, emailing back and forth with her and communicating through ways and trying to just pull her information. And one key turning point because in Miami, there's a girl with the same date of birth and the same name as her, which is crazy. So at one point, the FBI thought it was that girl because that girl has a record. But then during a conversation that I had with the stalker, I was like, do you have a middle name? Tell me about yourself. I wanted more information because I was trying to pull information on her so I could give them too. I was trying to research her as well. And she's like, yeah, my middle name is Caridad. My mom watched some Spanish novela and, that's what she named me. So that piece of information was so crucial to the FBI. They're like, bingo, good job.
You ask all the right questions
I did.
to get something identifying beyond these fake profiles and everything else.
She created over 10 fake profiles. I learned that she came, her family, her mom was never involved. Her mom was a hardworking woman, had 3 kids, dad divorced. And this is all in my own research, through, researching and I can really Google really well now. She had 2 older brothers and nobody really paid attention to her. And her mom worked and, her mom was in court with her 2 brothers and, her mom just looked really sad and disappointed. I kind of feel bad for her. You are raising your children and here your child does some ridiculous shit. But again, as a parent, you kind of have to, even though she's not a child, but, kind of be involved with your children, even though when they're older, what they're doing, how they're doing, not let them just be hiding behind the screen. I learned that, she was pretty social. She had friends. It's so crazy that her friends would reach out to me and like, stop harassing our friend. And I'm like, do you understand what your friend is doing to me? Like, are you even aware of what's happening? Like, you shouldn't even be writing to me because, you're going to be in trouble too.
While our stalker was in prison, Michelle was able to get some relief from the everyday harassment, but it has changed her life forever in many ways.
Not only that, her stalker is now free, which is one of the reasons she has chosen to speak out anonymously. And we should also let our listeners know that in all the news documents, she was also kept anonymous.
Because I'm a mom now, and now I have a little one to protect, I think about it every day. Even before I became a mom, I thought about it every day. I got a gun. I hope I never have to use it, but, I will if she ever comes after me. I will protect myself and I will protect my family. I think about her every day. It's crazy, but I am more alert. I watch where I go. I pay attention to things. I never was like that. And it sucks. It sucks because I can never have a normal life. Because I don't know if she sat there for 22 months thinking every day, like what I fucked up. I hope, I'm sorry and I didn't want to do that. And, I want to rehab myself. Or when I get out and fucking go after her and kill her because she put me in here. I don't know what she thought, and nobody came back and told me that she was even out. And nobody said what her condition, like, did they do any kind of therapy on her? Like, no, I don't have that information, I'm glad that they helped me, but I'd like to have some kind of, continuance on this. Like, what is she doing? Did she get help? What are the conditions of her, probation? Is there any violations? Because from time to time I get private calls. I don't know if it's from her. I don't know if it's a coincidence. So it's scary. It's scary that every day I have to kind of, watch my back. And I'd like to suppress my records, my address. I'd like to, but it sucks to have to live like that. There is no protection for the victims. They're not up to date when it comes to cyber stalking. The attorneys were having a hard time trying to figure out what kind of charges, like how many years or what can they charge her with, because there isn't anything. Like the Southern District of Florida didn't even have anything. So they had to pull from like cases, from out of the country, like from London, there was a similar case and like what that person got charged with and like, like propose that. It sucks that in the day and age that we are right now and, the media and like the cyber stuff, like, can we be a little bit more up to date with, like having some strict laws, with having something that protects people, because it's scary. I'm strong and I'm a fighter, but had I been in a different place, had I, what about those people that actually do commit suicide because they can't take it?
She's definitely a fighter and very strong person for having to go through all of this and come out as a survivor.
And we're so glad she chose to speak out and share her story here for the first time. Now that her stalker has served her time in prison and is out, she is again concerned for herself and her family.
As far as their rights, I mean, if they serve their time in prison, they pay, nothing, no action is going to, like, no matter how many years, even if she goes for life, it's going to bring back my life or make me feel the same ever again. My life, like what I went through, like, no matter if she got 25 years, like that's still like what I went through, and every day, every second of every day for that year that I went through. And like up until now, is not going to bring back my life. But I feel strongly that we need to know when they get out, what they're up to. Like, I feel like there should be some kind of communication, like, hey, she's out and like we have no whereabouts of her. Like, what if she's trying to make her way to California to freaking kill me? I want to know, like, at least have some kind of information on her. I get it. She served her time. I get it. She's done with her probation. I completely understand that. But I need to know. I need to know so I could feel safe, so I could protect myself and my family.
If someone in your life was going through this, or someone that just, walked up to you, what would you tell them to do on how to deal with this? Fight
back and don't give up. And it's interesting that, I have a friend who went through similar situation and she fought back and was able to get a restraining order, not on the same level as mine. Like mine was on a federal level, but, my friend was going through like thoughts of like, oh my God, like this is terrible. And like the same thing, the shaming and, harassment and things like that. Just fight back. Don't crumble down. Don't let these people hiding behind computer screens think that they could take control of your life. You're in charge. Get help, see if like you could, I don't know, join groups. I mean, there are groups right now. There's wonderful women that are, that went through something like that. There's one actually that I follow, Lenora. She's an activist.
We had her on here.
She was a guest on our show.
I wrote to her, and
She's great.
she's awesome. My friend wrote to her and she gave her a lot of advice. Like, I wish I had that. I wish I had someone to kind of guide me through what I was going through, but there was no one, and I just knew that I wasn't going to back down. So reach out, get help. And that's what my friend did. She reached out to me, and it's another story.
Well, you have a voice of an advocate, and that's what Lenora is, obviously, in terms of turning the tables on what happened to her, and ultimately basically trying to find a way to combat her stalker. And you have that same kind of spark about you, which is incredible.
Thank you. Wasn't gonna let somebody take me down. I've worked so hard to get to where I was at, and I'm not gonna let that. I'm a fighter.
Thank you so much for sharing your story with us today. We are so glad you chose to fight back and bring at least part of this horrific ordeal to an end.
One of the scariest parts of this is that it literally all started with a Facebook friend request that was denied. It's something we've all done on a regular basis.
That's why we need to always take precautions and be aware. Again, don't geotag where you are on social media. Use caution about what you share online and listen to your intuition.
If anyone out there is in need of help or is a victim of stalking, please reach out. You can find a list of resources on our Instagram at Strictly Stalking Pod.
I'm Jake Teptula.
And I'm Jamie Beebe. Thank you for joining us on today's episode of Strictly Stalking.